All right. Hello, everyone. This is Aubrey Birch with Easy School Marketing. I'm so excited to be here today with Jamie from Digistorm. Jamie, welcome. And I'd love for you to tell a little bit about yourself and Digistorm, as well as our two special guests today.
Awesome. Hey, Aubrey, thanks for having me, first of all, and for having the two special guests that I've got here with me, even though one seems to be sulking. Bertie, say hello. So my name's Jamie. Despite my funny accent, I am here in the United States. I'm based in Denver, Colorado. I've been here for just over a year with a company called Digistorm. This is our little sideways origami duck logo on my shirt here. And we make software for smart K-12 schools around the world. So we started in Australia, hence my silly accent, but never fear, I'm here in the US, here in Denver, Colorado. And I've brought today with me this legend. His name's Kuda, K-U-D-A. He's a 13-year-old legend from Australia that flew on the plane with myself and my wife to come over and join us on our US adventure with Digistorm. And over here, this shy one, Bertie, do you want to say hello? This is Bertie. He's 8 years old. He also flew with us from Australia and is really excited to join us and have a chat today. And lastly, but definitely not leastly, I am wearing my special Kuda socks that actually have, does it look familiar? This guy right here.
Yes. I'm loving it. First of all, best team ever. Like, look at you guys. You complement each other so well. I see the loyal support there. I feel like they must be your best work buddies ever.
100%, Aubrey, you've nailed it. And let's shake on that, Kuda. Shake. You're not going to shake with me?
That look of like, oh, so cute.
Hey.
I know. It just makes me want to get a dog right away. But I'm so glad that they were able to join today because they brighten all our days, should say. So I know that our audience will love seeing this. Now we're going to dive in today talking about how to really keep our school community engaged and connected, right? And I think this is such an important topic right now. I mean, if we learned anything during COVID, it was that community is really important, right? And when it goes away or goes to digital, we have to be very mindful about how we're building it and everything like that. So I'd love to hear from you. Like, what are a few things that you've noticed as we're looking at school communities for people to build a stronger school community and be more engaged?
Yeah, for sure. So I come from a background with the company I work for, which is Digistorm, where we've been working with schools for, and this is our 10th year. And over those 10 years, there's been so many, advancements and changes and just intricacies that have affected community engagement for schools, parent engagement, staff, prospective family engagement, and your alumni. But probably nothing more so than the last 12 months. The last 12 months have been completely crazy. I'm not telling anyone anything. Oh, there he goes. He's out of the meeting. I'm not telling anyone anything they don't know. But the last 12 months have really proven, like you said, that our communities, whether it be a school community, our local community, our sporting community, are more important than I think sometimes that we took for granted a little pre-COVID. So something that we've definitely seen happening as a trend at Digistorm is that kind of shift from traditional in-person engagement, which obviously I think we all miss, towards more digital engagement, which I think will become more of the norm moving forward. But I know, Aubrey, like me, I'm sure you can't wait for more in-person engagement as well. But I think this interwoven increase of digital engagement will be something that will persevere beyond the pandemic.
I feel like it was the silver lining of COVID. I remember going back to the day, like, because I've always kind of been remote with my consulting, that the heads of school didn't know how to use Zoom. And I have to do like a tutorial about like how to get on Zoom and stuff like that. But now everyone knows how to do Zoom, right? It's like, oh.
It's part of everybody's every day now. And for better or worse, like I think there's definitely an opportunity to go too far down the digital rabbit hole for sure. And I'm sure, Aubrey, you've experienced it. I've experienced it. Probably even Kuda and Bert have experienced a little bit of Zoom burnout in the last 12 months. So I think it'll stay part of the core of what we will do post-pandemic. But again, as I say, interspersed with some more personal in-person connections as well.
Actually, absolutely. Because I think that when we're looking at our schools is what's so important. So it's taking the tidbits that worked really well that we want to continue using moving forward, but then it's also remembering those traditional or like those times and those places where we can bring people together in person or in more personalized manners. So I'm really excited about this. And I think, as we're shifting towards like late 2021 and 2022, it's going to be very interesting to see how this all moves forward and what schools are choosing to keep and what they're not, and how they're choosing to use what we call the COVID disruption, right? To refocus their energies on community and communication.
Absolutely. And I think the other thing that COVID has shown us is that, a lot of the success in education at schools comes down to what happens at home. And COVID really, really proved that, because the majority of students were learning as we're communicating now via Zoom, either from their home or I'm actually here in my office, but this is a rarity. I've been in my home mostly. So that previously, before COVID, we knew that a big proportion of children's success came from what happens at home and their parents' engagement. But I think what COVID has taught us is that's probably even more than we previously thought. So keeping your parents engaged and informed, I think has always been important, but now we know just how important it is. So that's probably another learning that's come out of having this pandemic sweep the globe.
It's true. It has been a learning. And I would say when we're looking at the different ways to keep parents communicating and informed, there are so many. I know that people have been really creative with the way they're using video, with how they're sending out newsletters, how they're engaging their parents so that their parents feel informed and connected to their community, which I think has been such a challenge, right? And one thing I'd love to bring up as we are talking about this sort of engagement is we had a wonderful discussion about apps the other day. And I really enjoyed what you had to say about them, because there are some things that apps can do to help with that communication and engagement that I think is kind of a shift for the future. And I'd love for you to speak about like what you're seeing with that, how it can serve schools, and and maybe some other forms of that you're noticing, other ways schools can be served in that manner.
I know you're absolutely right. So full disclosure, one of the first things that Digistorm did 10 years ago, if not the first thing, was create the very first mobile phone app for a school in Australia. So that's why Aubrey and I, obviously we were talking about that last time we caught up, is it's something that we're very passionate about at Digistorm. And I think from being market leaders in Australia to now being here in the United States, we've learned a lot over the last decade around best ways to keep communities engaged in a K-12 environment. So some things that we, I guess, have noticed over those 10 years, and I'd challenge probably everyone who's watching to see if this holds true. If you just put your arm out and go, plunk, can you reach your phone? I bet you can. That's pretty much 99, yeah, there you go. I read an article that said something like 91% of millennials have a smart device. And my only thought was, I don't know who the other 9% are. I've never met them. It seems that these take up more and more of our lives, for better or worse. But from the better side, I think using a mobile device that is generally the preferred method of communicating, that we know that our audience, whether it be prospective families, current families, alumni, in some cases students, will have it there within that arm's reach to deliver time-sensitive information, is something that's really helped not necessarily completely redefine how schools communicate with their community, because the app is designed to integrate with what schools are already doing. So that great blog post that a school has to keep their current families engaged, we bring through into the app. So it's just easier for them to read, and they can see which ones they've read or haven't read, or that excellent Google Calendar or Blackboard calendar or whatever calendar that you're keeping up to date for your parents. We bring that through into the app as well as things like your events, what's happening in athletics, what's happening in your different clubs, different grade levels. So the app is building an app, whether it's with Digistorm or another provider, is about bringing all of that information that's important for your community into one place that, again, is within arm's reach of everyone that's part of your target audience, and delivering it in a curated way. Because I think one other thing that we've probably known for the last 5, maybe 10 years is that there's just an information overload. So let's have a look. I'm gonna do something off the cuff here. I'm gonna go to my personal Gmail inbox.
Oh gosh, I did mine before this.
How many unreads do I have? Not my work one, but my personal one. So let's jump in there. Inbox. Oh, it just says 99 plus, but I think, oh yeah, if I go here, 1,801 unread. So that's my personal inbox. Don't worry, it's not my work one. But that's just an example of, and I probably feel some people would be understanding my pain there, in the fact that
I do not identify with my personal inbox being like that at all, Jamie.
I'm sure. 100% sure.
I'm sure it's not like 1,300.
It's a little painful, but it's part of that information overload, where it's coming from social media, emails, our phone, whatever it might be, and trying to, I guess, filter that information to extract what's important can be overwhelming. And hey, sometimes we just give up trying to extract that information. So being able to deliver that timely and relevant information that's just important for you, Aubrey, or just important for Bert or me or Kuda, is something that we've seen really evolve over the last decade, and especially in the last 12 months, being able to send out a targeted message to a section of your community and know that they've read it and understand it, whether it's a bus running late or a change in an athletic fixture, or hey, it's a snow day, because here I am in Denver. I've been introduced to snow days since moving from Australia, and school's closed. We know we can be confident that our audience has received that. So
I think that's,
I may have gone off track there. Look.
No, but I'm like, right? Yes and yes, because I think when I'm working with clients, I often see like there's this assumption that, oh, it must be like kind of the parents aren't reading our emails, or they're not, doing something like this. And I'm like, okay, but how are we informing them? Like, are we looking at how they like to be communicated with and their habits as just, parents? We're busy, right? We have a lot on our plate, COVID year especially, right? And I think having something where it's all in one place that's easily accessible on something that you use literally multiple times a day is very helpful. And as we're looking at our parents, habits and what they need to know, we really need to be mindful of that and understand that when we're thinking of communication and thinking about where to invest our time and, energy, we need to keep up with what's happening, and the best way to reach our parents, because what we're noticing is parents that do not feel informed or engaged or connected, they're dissatisfied. And a lot of them actually don't tell you. They kind of like go on, and then re-enrollment comes up and they're like, oh yeah, you didn't find your school valuable, right?
Yes.
You didn't see the value proposition. And a lot of value proposition has to do with, did they even understand half the things you were offering? Or, did they miss something and therefore felt upset because they missed something? Like, all that goes into how they perceived value of your school. So I'm really so excited about this app conversation, because I do feel like this is an untapped resource for many schools. And I would like to talk about, if you don't mind me taking a huge left turn, like a lot of clients I work with are small schools, right? And their thought is like, oh, an app, like that's super, they're thinking back to like like 10 years down the road when it was like $40,000 to $60,000 to have an app. And what I liked what you mentioned is that it doesn't have to be like an expensive, like you can still have something like this that engages your parents. And it's actually very affordable for your budget, your school budget.
100%, Aubrey. So and I think you're absolutely right. Apps 5-10 years ago, if you wanted to build a custom app for your school, and you weren't speaking necessarily with Digistorm or another like-minded provider, it could be $40,000 or $50,000 to build that app with ongoing maintenance costs. And to be honest, there are still some providers out there that charge, maybe half of that to build an app, which it depends on budgets and needs and what you'd like to achieve with your app. But the important thing is to make the app firstly about you. So about you and your school and your community and how you want to engage with them. You want to make it about your brand. So you don't want someone downloading the Digistorm app and then having to put in a school code and all this crazy stuff. You want people to be able to go to the App Store, or if they're an Android user like myself, go to the Play Store, or if they're using a tablet, go to either of those stores and know that they can get it on their tablet as well and download your school app. So immediately, this is probably sounding expensive already because it's not downloading someone else's app, it's downloading your school app. It's going to be your branding. So that's why I had my phone fired up. Let's open up, say, Ambrose Tracy College. So it's going to have their logo that's on the splash screen. And then once it loads into the app, it's going to just be all about Ambrose Tracy's branding. Oh, it's going to let me know I've got some pending notifications that I haven't read. I'm going to dismiss those because I'm going to look at the branding for a second. It's not Digistorm. You don't see this little sideways origami duck anywhere. It's about Ambrose Tracy College in that case. And we want to make sure the function is about your school. So some of the off-the-shelf apps that come with your SIS, or maybe off-the-shelf apps that are, just designed for one avenue of communication, you need to fit your communication methods to that provider. Whereas with Digistorm, we'll build the app around your current communication methods, as well as helping streamline what you do. So I know I've gone a long way to tell you about pricing, but I still want to tell you what you get included. But that's if you're a school that's under 434 enrollments, really random number, I know, but it's because it comes down to the minimum viable cost for us to design and build you an app and train you and keep you up to date with everything that's happening. If you're less than 434 students, we can build you your own app for $1,520 a year. And I'll just let that sit for a minute. Yeah, that's right. Next to nothing. Next to $1,520. I know that's not nothing, but if you keep one family retained with the app, it's paid for itself. If you can attract one more family with the app, it's more than paid for itself. And if you can engage one member of your alumni to give back on that next project, the app's paid for itself. And I guarantee you, and I can show people via testimonials or speaking to other schools that you get that and a whole lot more from having your own app.
Okay, I'm like, you're going to go, but I want to go too. I'm so excited. I have something to say. So, okay. So those schools out there who are competing with like the larger schools with the bigger budgets and stuff, I'm just imagining as a prospective family, like come in, you please talk about the prospective family engagement too. I want to hear about that. But like, I'm just imagining like, oh, look at this little sunny Montessori school. Wow. They have their own app and look at all this information I can find on it. It makes you look, it like takes you to that next level, I feel. And it really shows that you are thinking about the parents and prospective families and engaging with them in a meaningful way. And that you're branded. I mean, I think that's huge.
It is. And that's the advantage of, I guess, taking the 10 years of experience that Digistorm has in making apps, the structure that we've built into the app platform, and then the ability for us to customize it for a school. That means it is super slick, super professional, all about your brand and being integrated with your other marketing communications. It's integrated with your existing authentication, news, calendar systems. It can be integrated with your donate or giving back systems. And it can definitely be integrated with launching your online application. So if you're running a Google form or you're running an online application through your SIS, or I won't go into it too much detail, if you're running a Digistorm application system, because we build those as well, we can link to that from the app. And we can remind your prospective families after they've been to a virtual tour, soon to an in-person tour, saying, hey, don't forget, enrollments are closing, or hey, don't forget, financial aid dates are coming up. And you can send out those reminders as push notifications via your branded app, which more than likely the school down the road that's your competitor, maybe with 5-10 times the students and the budget, they're not sending those. You're standing out and showing that you care. You want to engage with your prospective families. They become current families and they're just as engaged because you're communicating with them on a daily basis around those things that are important to them. Because I talked about before, they can curate their own experience on the app. If I don't care about football, but I really care about track and field, I just don't subscribe to anything about football. And I know some people out there are like, what, who doesn't like football? But anyway, there are some people, it's crazy enough. Track and field is all I'm going to get info about from athletics, because that's all I care about as a parent or a student or a staff member, or as an alumni who was the fastest 100-meter sprinter in, 2003. Maybe I want to keep track of how people are going in the sprint ever since and see if anyone breaks my record. That's A-okay. I can just get the information that I want and receive it in a timely manner. As I say, for $1,520 if you're less than 434 enrollments. If you're over 434, don't worry, it's only $3.50 per student per annum to build, maintain, train all your users to access the app and post things to it, as well as provide you with a really slick marketing pack, which again, doesn't involve Digistorm. It's all about your school to advertise to your community that you now have this amazing new app available in the App and Play Store. So there's a lot to unpack. We've kind of scratched the surface a bit, but yes, definitely for attraction of prospective families, retention of your current families, and engaging your alum, I can't think of a better solution than a customized app.
I love this. I feel like we've busted a huge myth, like several myths here, that apps are too expensive for my small school, right? Busted, yep. Right? Gone. That like that we're going to, that we can't have a customized experience for our parents and prospective parents and alumni. Gone. Like that apps, are rigid and you can't have them look and feel the way you want them to do. And I think we've busted that as well. Now, I would love to chat about like, what are the trends you're seeing with this? Like, are you seeing like more and more schools embrace the prospective family experience through the app? Are you seeing your alumni, are you seeing the alumni population grow and engage more with the apps? Like, have you noticed any specific trends?
Yeah, great call. So already when we first launched the app, it really was focused on your current family communication. So how do we get newsletters out in a more effective way? How do we get a blog post out? How do we update them on a change of an event? How do we share the calendar in a meaningful way? Was the main use of the app probably for 5, maybe even 6 years. That was the main engagement piece for the app. But over time, and traditionally, prospective families were their first engagement point was either driving past your school, oh hello school, or seeing your website, or logging onto one of those tools that will, aggregate schools like niche.com to learn about schools. That would be the first engagement point for your prospective families. And they'll come to a tour and get a nice big packet of paper that they take home and plonk on the table and maybe have a look at. And that was kind of it for prospects. Same for alumni. It was schools like, how do we connect with alumni? Let's have a Facebook page. Let's buy this kind of expensive system that's meant to follow our alumni through their journey after school that no one keeps their details up to date in and no one ever logs into, and it ends up being a little bit painful. To now, probably in the last, like I say, 3 coming on 4 years here at Digistorm, and it's been led by schools. Like we're not the ones saying, hey, you need to change your processes, but schools have like really cottoned on to, hey, well, if we're engaging so well with our current families via an app, why couldn't we get families to download the app before they come on a tour, or now in the last 4 months, a virtual tour? Why couldn't we do that? And we're like, you know what, that's absolutely, the app can definitely handle that. So we've seen this shift towards just engaging with current families, staff and students to, okay, well, let's start the process earlier in that enrollment funnel or that enrollment pipeline and start engaging people via a custom app that's about our school and brand that's within arm's reach to kind of give us an edge over our competitors. So we've seen that trend, probably, as I say, in the last 3 to 4 years. And then more recently than that, a shift to having an area inside the app that's just for alumni, because the alumni tend to feed the next generation of students that are going to come to a school. They also help with those things where we've got a new building that's coming online, or we've got a new project or scholarship or something. Hey, we'd love for our fastest 100-meter sprinter to come and donate to the athletics program. So keeping your alum engaged has always been a priority from schools, but more recently, we've found schools using the app in a really constructive way to stay engaged with alumni in a way that they care about. So not just shooting them an email every 6 months saying, hey, remember us, but keeping them updated. Like, this is the news going on at the school. This is what's happening in track and field or football. And hey, update your details via this little form via the app. So the big transition has been from just retention of families to attraction of prospective families and engagement of alumni. That's been the big trend in the last 3 to 4 years that we've seen via the app.
That's so intriguing. I think so alumni can basically go on there. And I mean, I would even think schools would even try to set their graduating students up on the app before they left. If I was thinking strategically, right? I would be like, yeah, I want, let's hold senior class. Let's all sit down and install this app on your phone.
That's a super smart way to do it. And if I fire up an example of an app that's got alumni on it, we're going to just come in here. This is the Penview Bible Institute, and you can see they've got one notice that's been sent out to their alumni. So they've got admissions in the middle. They've got current students. They've got giving. Oops, let's not let that fade away. They've got giving. They've got their academy contacts, links. They've got all sorts of stuff via their app. And under that current students module, it launches into things like their campus SIS, launches into paying a bill. Launches into the library, the learning management system, like all the systems current students need. The admissions obviously launches into their admissions system, and alum really just keeps their alum up to date with what's going on. And you're absolutely right. The idea is get your graduating class to download the app, continue to communicate with them off into the future. And, who knows what's going to happen in the next 20, 25 years, but hopefully you can engage them when they're, ready to send their children back to your school as well. So
absolutely. I think
life cycle of going from a prospective family to a current family to an alumni back to a prospective family to an engaged family can be handled via an app like Digistorm's customized school app.
I think that's so cool. I think I love when you were talking about when schools think about how to engage alumni, like it's always like, the Facebook page, that's what we'll do. We'll create the Facebook page and then we build it and they will come. And then I've said it in so many meetings, like, how do we engage our alumni? And, I love this take on it because it's using something that people already use every day. And I'm sure, especially for that, the alumni that are like even recent alumni and then like your 10 to 15 out alumni, this has got to be huge for them and older. I mean, even my mom, I'm not dating myself, but even my mom has apps on her phone she uses. Like, it's just such a convenient way to work with what people are already doing instead of trying to force them to go to this site or sign up for Facebook, even though they don't want to be on social media, like all sorts of things.
It's that piece. And also like, I don't know about you, but I'm on Facebook because I want to stay close to what schools are doing on Facebook. So I'm mainly on there to check out, what's this school doing on Facebook and what's their engagement method with this platform. But I'm still flooded with too much information and too many notifications when I log onto Facebook. I'm probably a once every 3 or 4 day log on and I've got, 27 notifications. Am I going to see that one alumni, College Senior High School where I went to, posting something about, I'd have to be a 20-something year alumni now. Then posting something in those 27 notifications. I'm not going to see that. I wish my high school had an app that I could just stay connected via. Only subscribing to, I'd probably subscribe to soccer, football, the blog, and alumni, and that'd be about it. Everything else, I don't want to receive. So I've just received that info. I wish I had that. So yeah, there's information overload across all the different channels, but even individually with Facebook, I think schools' hearts were in the right place setting up an alumni page, but I don't know if that's the most effective platform. Having said that, some apps that we've built, we've got a feed coming from their alumni Facebook into the app because we can take a feed, an RSS feed from Facebook and pull it into the app. So we have done that as well. So I guess there's lots of different things that we can do, and it's just around complementing what a school's already doing. We don't want to create more work. We want to streamline what a school's doing, but we want to increase the engagement that their community gets out of what they're doing. So basically, we're just here to dial up the strength of what schools are already doing. So, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I totally agree. And I love what you said about information overload as a mom trying to deal with like school communications and then everything at work and everything like that. You don't have time to sort through the 28 notifications on Facebook just to read the thing. You just don't, you prioritize what's easy and what can I easily access and get the information and then get out.
Yeah, I want to go, do I check my email? Do I go in and check the online portal? Do I need to log into the SIS? Do I go to the Facebook? Do I go to the website? Do I go to the, like, there's too many platforms. And I totally get it, having worked with so many schools. I totally get it from the information overload that I already get. Having that centralized location where you can be confident as a parent or as a student or as a staff member or as an alum or as a prospective family or as a person sending the message that, geez, I haven't missed out. I'm receiving the message. And as the person sending it, I'm confident that my intended audience has read or has received the information I need to get out. That's probably really the overarching thing that's most important, the confidence in knowing that you're informed as a parent or part of the community, and the person sending the message knowing you can be confident that you've reached that person. I think that's probably the number one thing that an app can bring, which I really love.
Absolutely. And we've talked about that communication is key, and it's helpful. People who feel informed and communicated are more connected and more likely to stay at your school.
That's it. So, absolutely.
Well, as we're wrapping this up, what else, is there anything you'd like to leave everyone with, or any piece of advice or any other trends you're noticing in terms of, engagement and communication?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the power traditionally around engaging with families was with the school. So the school held all the information, whether it was for prospective families, current families, or alum. The school held all the information and kind of disseminated that in any fashion that a school saw fit. Whereas now, it's our community that has the power to find that information through Google, through niche, through doing an online search. So there's a higher expectation from prospective families, current families, and alumni around how they want to be engaged with. If you're going to send them information, you better be doing it in a way that your intended audience wants to receive the information. If you're still sending just traditional old letters, which, hey, I think complement to strategy, nothing nicer than getting something in the snail mail that has actual writing on it. It's like, someone sent me a letter. Love that. But for your day-to-day communication, I think if you're not communicating in a way that your audience wants to receive it, they're probably not going to get the information that you want them to get. They're going to go and look elsewhere. And I think, beyond that, it's really about making sure that they're really your customers, but your families that are looking to join your school have a really beautiful and nice experience like we do on Amazon or our favorite online retailer, where they make it easy. We can get the information that we need to then make a purchase. In this case, the purchase coming along to your school, and that each step of the process, you're keeping me informed and up to date, and I have all the information in. I feel safe and nurtured and cared for as an individual. I think that's the biggest trend that's already happening, but more and more we're finding schools engage in things like CRMs, customer relationship managers, to ensure that whole buying cycle of your enrollment pipeline, families are being looked after. So that's probably a parting thought, including the app, that making sure that you're engaging with your families in an individual way, but at a way that you can scale and ensure that they're being looked after through the whole buying life cycle at your school. I think that can really set you apart from what other schools are doing. An app can complement that. A CRM for your school can complement that. Having a beautiful website with the right information can complement that. So it's probably my parting thought, other than Aubrey's awesome. And if you're watching this, you probably have already worked with Aubrey and you know how awesome she is. But if you haven't worked with Aubrey, reach out to Aubrey. She's awesome.
Oh gosh, I love it. A nice plug there. I appreciate it. Just so you all know, I have so much fun chatting with Jamie. We could probably chat for hours, in fact. And I'm glad, Jamie, thank you for bringing your dogs, because this was a really important part. Not only did you give us like great information, but oh my gosh.
There he is. He's just having a little nap.
Doesn't it make you want to go out and get a dog, everyone? I mean, seriously, I'm like, how great. Oh, look at you. I love it.
The thing is, he's got like a really comfortable bed just over out of frame here, but no, chosen to display on the mat here.
It was like probably the ergonomic bed or something like that costs a lot and like was going to balance out his like, you know, make him all comfortable. And he's like, no, I'll just take the rug.
I'll take the floor. Yeah,
take the floor.
You're absolutely right. I just wanted to at least say, get Kudo to say goodbye. So
Kudo, so nice seeing you again. Yay.
And Birdie, he stayed in frame. Good boy.
Birdie, I know. Birdie looks like a pro. It's like he's done chairs all his life.
Birdie, you want to come around and say?
Look. He's like, no, I really don't. I would like to prefer. Oh, look at that knife. It's like, really? Dad, really? That's awesome. Well, thank you, Jamie, for today. This was great. You shared so much information. I always learn so much from you. So I appreciate you coming on today, and thank you. Where can people find you if they want to learn more? Yeah, lots of places. I'm hanging out. Go download my app. No, only kidding. Find me on LinkedIn, Jamie Giblett. Go to our website, which is Digistorm, Digistorm, digistorm.com. You can find me there, or jamie.giblett, Giblett @digistorm.com. And I'd love to hang out, chat more, talk to you about your own attraction, retention, engagement strategies. Let's hang out. Hopefully I seem pretty fun to hang out with. He is. I trust me on this, folks. He is. And I promise I'll even wear my Kudo socks and maybe a dog appearance. I mean, if you're lucky, if you request it, I'm sure he can make it happen. All right. Thank you, Jamie. Take care. Likewise. Thank you.